Hey, what's happening, everybody? Chris here at Test the Speed Shop. Tom's here too. Just hanging out. I got some updates here for you because I was going to have two videos actually. One was of the getting the CUDA running with the 6-pack, and the other one was of the Firebird. But both of those videos got screwed up, and they had no sound, and I'm just not very tech savvy, so I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys an update here. So we got the CUDA running, but not without its issues. So let me get some aids here to show you what we had problems with. We ended up, you watched the video where we rebuilt the carburetors. Well, we put all that stuff in from what the hell is the name of that? Oh, crazy.
Pro something.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. Not ProMaster. Pro something. But you saw us put those metering blocks in, and then the plates here that went ahead and blocked off, that took the replaceable jets. So we put all that stuff in, but when we went to go get the car running, we couldn't get it to run. I mean, it would run, but it would run so rich. I mean, it was like a freaking cloud of just fuel. Now, we just started this car, so of course, you know, we didn't want to run it long, so we're trying to get it straightened out. So we took about 2 days to try and figure out what was going on with this thing, and we couldn't get it to lean out. So I finally said to Mike, I said, let's pull these carbs off and bring them back over here, and we'll see what the hell is going on. So we went to ProMax. That's it, ProMax. So we brought it all back over here, and we pulled them apart. So when we pulled the outboard carburetors apart, we had replaced the metering plate here with one from that ProMax that had replaceable jets in it on each side. But the problem we found with that is that when you use the ProMax stuff, you had to eliminate the block-off plate on the back of the metering plate.
You don't have a block-off plate.
Yeah, no I don't, but I have a metering plate in here. I think if I can get this thing open. Got too much junk laying in here. There we go. So anyways, here's a metering plate. There's a block-off plate that goes on the back of that seals all these channels and everything up. Well, you have to eliminate that when you go to the ProMax setup. Problem is when you put that plate on here without that block-off plate, this gasket's old and dried out. This gasket isn't, that gasket here isn't supported, and it just moves all around. So when we pulled those outboard carburetors off, this whole well inside here, this whole well in here was full of gas on both outboard carburetors. So the gas was just running down because here's a hole right here, and this hole is for your metering plate. So that gas was probably just running down through the threads. So we had this way overrich problem. Plus, when we looked at the gasket, you could see that a lot of the channels weren't even getting sealed up on that ProMax plate because you don't have a block-off plate to seal that all up. So all the gas was running all over the place, and it wasn't even going through those channels. So we ended up taking all the ProMax stuff off. We put the regular metering plates back in. The only thing we did leave on were the adjustable metering plates that had the adjustable air bleeds in them. We left both those outboards on there, on each outboard. We even took the metering block off the center card because when we pulled that off, it too had fuel all inside here. And I don't know if maybe because it just wasn't sealing right or what, but we put all the old stuff back on, put the carbs all back on, got everything situated in the car. We got the car running. And it's been running pretty good. So that was the video you missed of that. So next thing we did is we ended up taking the Firebird apart, and we put all new control arm bushings in, and sway bar bushings in. So that's all done. So now when we go down the road, we don't sit and wallow going through bumps and hitting bridge joists, having the front end bounce up and down kind of like a lowrider, because the bushings are all gone. So you missed that video because we ended up screwing up. We put the springs back in, and we didn't get them in the upper pocket. So when we dropped the front end of or dropped the car down after we got it all together, you could put your fist between the tire and the top of the wheel well, and it was sitting like a freaking gasser. And we couldn't figure out why. We took it out and it handled like shit. So we brought it back. I mean, you couldn't even push the front end up and down. And we're like, what the hell did we do? So we crawled under there and we messed with this thing for a couple days trying to figure out what the fuck we did. So then finally we crawled in there and looked, and we didn't get the spring in the upper pocket in the seat. So we ended up having to take the whole front end back apart again and getting the springs seated. The driver's side was miserable both times. I mean, we spent over an hour on each time putting it together. I don't know why the driver's side was so miserable, but it was. So we ended up doing that. We ended up having to take it all apart again, take the spindle out, drop everything apart. So went ahead and got that done. So now as you can see, it's sitting normal. So, but now it's got all new suspension bushings. The suspension bushings were easy compared to pissing with these springs. How about it? What a freaking nightmare. And we don't have a spring compressor. We've never even used a spring compressor. We always just drop down on the A-arm and just jack it back up. And that's how we've always done it. But for some reason, this thing just would not pop into the damn spring pocket up top. So it rides and drives very, very nice.
Yeah.
The other thing I did is I adjusted that old steering box up because we had a lot of play in that box. So I went ahead and I adjusted the lash on that steering box. So we took a lot of the play out of that. So that's just a quick update on what's been going on with this. So, and I had a request from somebody saying that they needed a Firebird fix. So, Mark, Bigfoots and Mopars, here's your Firebird fix. So we're going to be, today, we're messing around with this carburetor again. I'm always experimenting with different things. So I have a K&N stub stack over here. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this K&N stub stacks. This is something they had come out with in the late 80s, early 90s. And what it does is it goes over your carburetor and it smooths the entryways in going into your carburetor. This thing just slips down on top so that it just smooths everything out going in. And they're saying that these are worth 25 CFM. That it kind of increases the size, and they say it increases the power. I don't know. A lot of guys have different opinions on these things. I mean, I don't know. I paid $10 for it as well. I mean,
But you already have that other spacer in there.
Yeah,
Go. Is that going to affect that?
I don't think it will. This just goes on top. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll throw it on and see what it does. I had this on the Chevelle, and I don't know. It seemed to act wonky when I had it on the Chevelle. Now, I had it on the 396, and that was a couple of years ago. And it just seemed like it just acted weird on that. So we're going to throw this thing on here, and we'll take it for a ride, and we'll see what it does. I mean, what the hell? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. So how this thing goes on is you put on your air cleaner lid. And they still sell these, by the way. I think they're about $50. This thing's all knocked open because I had an electric choke when I had it on the 396. I got rid of that. So this thing just goes right down here. It just goes right down over your stud. You just push it down on here. Like so. Yep. And then if you look inside here, you can see, probably can't see anything. It's so dark. Oh, we got light. See how it kind of smooths everything out going in here? It's supposed to help the airflow going into your barrels and stuff. So a lot of guys say that these things kind of screw up your air vents here because the airflow comes down over them and it kind of screws them up. Or it kind of screws up the signal inside your choke housing here, where your little vents are down inside there. A lot of guys say that the air pressure rushing across them kind of screws up the mixtures, because what happens is the air just kind of goes over them too fast and it screws it up. I don't know. We'll see what it does on this. Can't be any worse than it is now.
Choke one, it affects that?
No, it'll work with the choke. But what it is that you put a nut on here, tighten it down so that you keep this thing in place. And that's it. Now what they say is that the airflow comes across here and it flows so great that it kind of screws up your air bleeds inside the choke housing there. Because the air's rushing through there a little bit, I don't know, better. I don't know. Like I said, it acted weird on the 396, but you know, the other thing is, Tom, is that when I had that on there, that's when we were having all the problems with the fuel sending unit. You know what? Yeah, if you saw in that video, we had fuel sending unit issues because it wasn't pulling right, and our Chinese sending unit was a pile of shit. So that's it. That's all you got to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back together, and we'll take it out for a ride and we'll see what this thing does, and we'll get back to you here in a few. Nope, got her running. Sounding pretty good. Let's take it for a ride. You're relegated to cameraman status.
Can't guarantee what you're going to be seeing.
Take a real man to drive Firebird.
Yeah.
No power steering or brake.
Need big arms.
Real man drive car.
that?
That's pretty good.
Was it? Felt pretty good.
Yeah, she got up out of her way pretty quick.
Sounded good.
Same Paul.
Run around for a little bit. See how it works.
That didn't break loose. Felt like it did.
I can tell. I didn't hear any squealing. You gotta put them rear shots on.
Yeah.
Since you're about spent.
Things all bouncy in the back there.
Pretty decent. Shifting about 5. Not gonna take it much more than that.
No. Bulldogs.
Feels pretty good for a stock 350.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it looks good.
Is it or not? We don't know of anything that's been nuts for it. Got a stock cam. Well, this is a 4-barrel and dual exhaust. Oh, I didn't even have battery on it. I think it runs great. Look at this thing blowing down the highway. So much nicer since I adjusted that steering box.
Much better.
Oh my goodness. There was a lot of play in that damn box. Probably could have gone a little bit more, but I didn't want to go too much.
Always take some more out of it.
You don't want it so tight that it binds itself up.
Yeah, if your steering wheel won't return, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you got it too tight. No, it's still returning good. Well, we took the stub stack off because it actually wasn't working. It was weird. Driving around town, it seemed like it was working real well, but we drove it up and down the highway, we got on it and stuff, and then we took it out and we ran it up and down the highway a little bit more. We noticed that we were like having a lean surge with it, climbing hills and stuff like that. So we went back and we took it off because it only takes like 5 minutes to get it off. And when we took it off and took it down the highway again, we found that our lean surge went away. And it actually feels a lot better without it. So the only thing I could attribute to that is that maybe the problem we're having is that it's just, when I told you guys when I was putting it on, that maybe we're just having too much, we just got too much airflow going over that stuff. Oh, hey.
Get him. Get him. He called you out, boy. You see him in Shrewsbury.
was telling you guys earlier is that there's just too much air going over those air bleeders, and we're just wondering if maybe it's just screwing that up. And I had read some stuff on there about it on the internet. Even Joe Sherman had said that they're just garbage. You know, you put them on some cars on the dyno and they just didn't work. So, but I guess that's, you know, you don't know until you try.
It was definitely messing with the...
Yeah, it was definitely.
It had a slight surge every time you get up on the... Put it under load. The motor had a surge to it, like it was just... Something was... The air was being screwed around or something.
Oh, definitely.
And it went away after he took it off. Now it's smooth. It's got a nice smooth power up through the...
It's weird, real down low, like driving around in the neighborhood, it seemed like it was really nice until you got into a higher speed.
Yeah,
With the
yeah.
more airspeed, it started to screw things up. I don't know. It sounds, the engine sounds different too.
Yeah, you can tell the difference in the way the engine runs with it off of there than when it had it on there. So it was definitely some kind of a lean going on with that stack on there.
Yeah, something's up with it, that's for sure. That felt
It's much nicer.
Yeah. It definitely feels a lot better, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely tell the difference between that stacks on there and with it. Without it, it's much better.
Well, moral of the story, K&N stub stack. I don't know. I read on the internet guys that picked up with it. I've also read that guys have had all kinds of issues with it. I guess it just depends on your combination and what you're running. And
Yeah, if your carburetor's already set up on the rich side, if it's jetted up and riched a little bit, the stack would probably fix that problem. You know, it would lean it down, and then you would see a better response. But this carburetor is not set up. It's already properly. It's already got the proper fuel ratio to it. And when he put, with that stack on, when he put that stack on there, it was just, you could tell the difference. If this car was already kind of on the rich side, it probably would have improved it. But
yeah, but being that it's probably all right.
yeah,
Don't have.
this car's not running rich.
600 Holly, so
Right.
It's probably more than it's probably enough for this engine. Probably doesn't have any problems taking it.
Yeah,
Could have leaned it out by putting that stupid thing on there.
Right. So if you got a bigger CFM car on there and it's running rich to begin with, and you slap that on there, you would see an improvement, because it would lean it down, and then you'd get you'd see a response.
Sure did feel good going through the gears though, but
Yeah.
we haven't really put this thing. Well, we kind of did. We didn't have the camera on. We kind of run it through the gears. Not really. Not like we did before, but it actually felt better when we did it this last time.
Yeah, without the stack, it felt better. Fucking two of them sitting there. Oh, sitting around visiting somebody. Oh, there's four of them. There must have been a fight going on there. It's always something going on right in this area.
Well, I think that's going to be it for now.
Yep. No stack for the
No
fire.
stack for the Firebird.
Yep.
No stub stack.
No stuff stack for the Firebird. It just didn't make any improvements, and it was a little.
We'll keep it around. Maybe it'll make an improvement on something.
Yeah, we'll
Just
sell it.
haven't found that car yet.
Just sell it.
So that should be it. Mark, I hope this made you happy. I gave you the bird.
Yep. Give me the bird.
Gave you the bird. So,
Don't run a stub stack on your.
yeah, or experiment with it. You
Yeah.
never know until you try.
Never
Some
know.
things work, some things don't. You never know until you put it on and you try it. So, what do you got? get
Well,
it.
you said it didn't ever run right on the 396 on the Chevelle. So
Yeah, but different setup. you
that's a
know,
bigger engine.
bigger
And
engine.
it still didn't work.
Still didn't work. Thought it'd work on this. What are you gonna do? All right, guys. That's it. I'll see you all later.